Hey guys, welcome back. If you don't know, my name is Brittany, and if you're new to my channel or just not yet subscribed, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. My goal, hopefully it works, is to post 4 to 5 videos a week for you guys. So I'm going to be quite busy, but that's okay. I want to get up as many videos as I can for you guys. So definitely make sure to subscribe and turn that little bell on. And let's dive in. We are going to be talking about urban legends from Vermont. Now, the first one I have for you guys is Hayden House. Now, the old Hayden House actually still stands on the outskirts of Albany, Vermont. Which I didn't even know there was an Albany, Vermont. I know there's an Albany, New York, but I didn't know there was an Albany, Vermont. So this is in the Northeast Kingdom. The Hayden family is thought to have perished under the vengeful curse of William Hayden's mother-in-law, Mercy Dale. So Mrs. Dale tried to be a good mother-in-law and lent her daughter's husband large sums of money to go towards the family's business. Instead, Hayden Sr. just kind of blew it away, supporting his lavish lifestyle, and refused to pay the money back. Great guy. So things went from bad to worse when Dale suspected her son-in-law was poisoning her. Legend has it that on her deathbed in 1806, Mercy cursed her son-in-law and his family, saying that the third generation would be the last in the Hayden line. Hi, buddy. Hi. Did you go potty?
Yeah, and then he had his wiener out. I turned around the garage and he was just standing there with his pants pulled down.
You want to be in the video? Yeah. Hey, hi. Wave. No. You're gonna be a good boy, right? Right?
No. Buddy, you want your name to change?
Go get your diaper changed. 1854, William Hayden Jr. built the mansion that still stands today. And it looks the same as it did more than 150 years ago, which is pretty crazy. It's like, things deteriorate over time. So it's crazy that the mansion looks exactly the same. Now, he is thought to really like parties, just like his father, as plans for the building, including a spring suspended dance floor on the 3rd floor to add a little bounce to his ballroom dances. Now, Mercy's curse actually came true because in 1927, according to various accounts, the entire Hayden family gradually died due to an assortment of inexplicable illnesses. And then the curse was complete. Now, that is like super eerie. The Hayden family, along with Mercy Dale, are all buried in a family cemetery in Albany. And some have said they can see ghostly lights near the property, thought to be the spirits of slaves that perhaps were buried in unmarked graves in the fields near the farm. Some say phantom violin music can sometimes be heard in and around the old mansion. Probably a flashback to one of these lavish parties during the happier times. It sounds like a very toxic family. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is the Golden Stage Inn. So one of the stagecoach stops in Vermont is said to be haunted, and this is the Golden Stage Inn, which is still in its original form as it was constructed in 1788. It's a very popular bed and breakfast in Okemo Valley, and it's known more for its great meals and its historic architecture. Originally, it was a stagecoach stop in southeast Vermont, and it may have actually been an important part of the Underground Railroad. At one point, it was repurposed as a private home for nearly 100 years until it reopened as an inn. A newer section of this home says that it is home to a kind-hearted, handsome, male ghostly spirit. He reportedly looks like Robert Redford and wanders the hall in an old-fashioned coat. Other people have heard unexplained footsteps and electronics turning on and off on their own, which is a very common thing when spirits are around. So that one's a little happier. This one is Brattleboro Retreat Tower. Formerly known as the Vermont Insane Asylum, Brattleboro Retreat is still a treatment center for mental health patients. It was founded in 1834, and today there are 50 buildings on 100 acres. And only 20 of these buildings are modern, like they're newer. The remainder were built between 1838 and 1938. Now, one of the abandoned and closed off buildings is the Retreat Tower. Now, this was built between 1887 and 1892 by patients. I feel like that's not okay. But, you know, back in the day, mental illnesses were not looked at as they are now. And patients were actually treated so horribly. Now, legend says that the tower was closed shortly after being built because too many patients jumped to their death. Yeah, I feel like you shouldn't have this like tall tower that you're just going to let patients go to because it's a pretty bad idea. One of the most common sightings today is actually a ghostly figure jumping but never hitting the ground. That would be so terrifying to see. The next urban legend I have for you guys is about American Flatbread. American Flatbread. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. So this is a favorite restaurant in Burlington. It has like wood-fired and thin crust pizzas made from organic and locally farmed ingredients, and they actually brew their own beer. But before this establishment became American Flatbread in 2004, it was actually Carver's Restaurant, and the current manager of it says that the restaurant's first 2 years were actually full of creepy experiences, such as doors without locks, locking mysteriously, and a wreath above the fireplace flying across the room. Previously, the workers at Carver's Restaurant reported similar happenings, so it wasn't this new thing because the restaurant changed, including a server who mysteriously got locked in a cooler. The establishment has a sordid history starting decades earlier when a young cook actually killed himself. Before that, from 1790 to 1820, a man named Gideon King ran the trade on Lake Champlain. And during an embargo, he built a series of tunnels to illegally transport goods under the building. Legend says that later during the Prohibition era, the tunnels were part of the booze trade. Strange happenings continued at American Flatbread, mostly in the basement. So, would you go down there? Especially alone? Oh, basements are so creepy. The next one is Green Mountain Inn. I did an investigation and a video on Emily's Bridge, which is also located in Stowe, Vermont. So if you want to go check those out, I highly recommend it. But it's not the only haunted location in Stowe. The Green Mountain Inn is a historic hotel and said to be a haunted building. In 1840, Boots Barry was born in the inn servants' quarters, which is now room 302. His mother was a housekeeper in the inn. Hi! Hi. And his father took care of the horses. Aww.
Hey.
It's okay.
Come on.
Hi.
Let's go back outside. Mommy's doing some videos. Hi. Okay, do you want us to phone? You want to go outside? What was I?
Look at that smile. Look at your face. Oh, excuse you.
Was that a burp?
I think so. His mother was a housekeeper at the inn, and his father took care of the horses. With Boots following in his father's footsteps, he became a stable hand. He also became a local member of the community, once stopping an out-of-control stagecoach and saving all on board, which is pretty amazing. As the years passed, Boots actually developed a drinking habit and was fired from his job, and traveled around the country and learned to dance while in jail, hence the nickname Boots. 1902, he came back to visit the inn, and a young child had snuck onto the roof and was stuck there during a snowstorm. Boots saved the child, but he wasn't so lucky. He slipped after the rescue and actually fell to his death. Visitors and employees claimed to hear the sound of dancing feet coming from the roof. That's like he literally sacrificed himself. The next one I have for you guys is Lake Bomoseen? Now, this is in West Castleton, and it was once full of quarries and mills with immigrants from Italy, Ireland, and Eastern Europe thriving in this busy village. Hi!
He really wants to be here. He literally, I brought.
Sebastian will be joining. I love you too. Oh, you want Daddy to stay? I guess he wants both of us.
Buddy, Mommy's trying to do something.
Sebastian will not be joining us.
We love you.
I love you too. But by the 1930s, West Castleton was completely abandoned and is now known as a ghost town. Not just because no one resides there, but no one living. Residents would travel by rowboat to their favorite pub on the other side of the lake. One night, 3 friends set out and never returned to West Castleton. Morning, their empty boat was found floating on the lake. Today, it is said that a ghostly rowboat can be seen moving across the lake, the oars not making ripples in the tranquil water. Just seeing a ghost boat. How cool would that be? I mean, it's really like, the reason is sad, but just seeing it would be really cool. So the next one is the Shelburne Museum. So many Vermonters have visited the Shelburne Museum in northern Vermont. It has 45 acres and is a historical building. It has ships and carousel, and it's an old farmhouse. In addition to the rare works of arts, and they have hundreds of antique dolls, which dolls are creepy, folks say that you can find ghostly spirits there. One of the buildings that's part of the museum collection is the Hayden House. Now, this house was originally built in 1782. The house moved to the Shelburne Museum from the small town of Cavendish in 1950, and museum employees have experienced very strange occurrences in this old-fashioned colonial home. Tour guides have reported seeing apparitions of an old man, and others have heard a young child crying in the shadows. In the off-season, the house is said to emit unexplained noises, and no one but terrified maintenance workers are there to hear them. Because, so, things like, especially places that are haunted, they are going to be much more active when nobody is around, because there's less distractions. So the next one is the Hartford butter. It keeps nudging against my stand, and it's moving my camera. The Hartford Railroad disaster. Now, it was negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit, you guys, on February 5th, 1887. That is insane. And the real feel of that was probably much colder. I remember there was I think it was a few years back, and it was supposed to reach like negative 20. The coldest that it has been in a while here. Now, this was when the Boston-Montreal Express train pulled out of the White River Junction at 2:10 a.m. It crossed the White River on the West Hartford Bridge when the train started to sway back and forth. The back carriage actually swung off of the bridge. After the train fell off of the tracks, it tumbled to the river below it, and it caught fire and burned down the bridge along with the train. The disaster killed 37 people and injured 50, so it was a pretty big disaster. After the crash, a nearby barn became a makeshift trauma unit where some of the injured survivors had died. So this barn actually still stands, and if you go by it, people have heard crying coming from there. The area where the bridge stood has been known to emit this smell of burning wood, and some see a ghostly manifestation of conductor Stortevin, and it's believed that he's actually patrolling the bridge to prevent another accident. So he's kind of acting like a guardian, which is truly amazing. Others see a ghost of a young child in 19th century clothing, hovering above the river, staring at where the crash occurred. So I'm really curious if the child knows what happened, or if they're trying to make sense of it, or if they're reliving it. Just either way, so sad. Now, the last one I have on in Vermont, you guys, is the University of Vermont. Now, it's better known as UVM, and it's not only the largest higher education institute in Vermont, but it's said to be one of the most haunted buildings in the entire state. UVM has bought many former homes in the city and turned them into campus buildings. One building is the Counselor Center, and people have reported seeing the ghost of Captain John Knapp there, which was the house's former owner. Knapp causes havoc by knocking over buckets and slamming doors and windows. It seems like he doesn't really want those people there. The nearby public relations building was actually once owned by John E. Booth, and it's something that he makes banging sounds around the building and speaks when no one else is around. So I'm guessing that's when you're by yourself, people hear them. One of the most haunted buildings on campus, though, is the Bittersweet House. Multiple people have reported seeing full body apparitions, and the ghost is believed to be Margaret Smith, who lived a solitary life in the house after becoming widowed at a young age, till her death there in 1961. Now, some have seen this woman in complete detail. She's a woman with neat hair and a long dress. Others have seen a blurry version of her, but that's also it's fairly common. I mean, I've seen apparitions that look just like me and you. I've seen apparitions that are, they have this bright white light emitting off of them. And I've seen apparitions that are just simply shadow figures or orbs. So I think one depends on how strong the energy is, how strong the entity is, and also your skill level. But one of the most tragic stories on this campus, actually the Residence Hall Converse. In 1920, a young medical student named Henry actually took his life there. Students have experienced lost items and unexplained movement of doors and windows. So yeah, those are all of the urban legends that I have on Vermont for you guys today. If you guys have ever been to any of these places, definitely let me know your experience down below. And I'd really like to know if you guys actually went to UVM and if you had any experiences there. I think it'd be so cool to go to a haunted school. But I also think it'd be really cool to work in a haunted building. And I mean, I love investigations, so there's that. So then hopefully I could just investigate all these places. But if you guys like these urban legend videos and want me to continue them, and eventually I will reach ones in your state and I'll reach ones all over the world. So if you guys want me to continue doing that, definitely make sure to give this video a thumbs up and Until next time, I love you guys. Bye.